Have you ever considered that your birth date might be more than just a number on the calendar? It might actually be linked to the divine purpose God designed for you even before you were born, as mentioned in Jeremiah 1:5. Your birthday is not a coincidence, but a sign that you were chosen for something special. If you were born on dates like July 7th or March 3rd, it could indicate an even deeper purpose. Want to understand how this connects to Jesus' teachings and God's plan for your life? Then stick with me, because what you're about to discover can completely transform your perception of your mission in this world. Since ancient times, many cultures have attributed spiritual meaning to birth dates, believing that they hold clues about our divine purpose. It's no accident that you were born on a specific day. There's a reason behind it, something greater than chance. Imagine your birth date as a starting point in God's plan, something that was already written before you even existed. In Psalm 139:16, it says that all of our days were ordained before any of them came to be, which shows that there's a divine mission waiting to be fulfilled. In other words, your birthday isn't just a marker of another year of life, but a reminder that there's a deep connection between your existence and the divine plan. In many cases, a birth date reflects unique characteristics like talents and challenges that shape our spiritual journey. You know that significant birthday that seems to mark a turning point? It might be a sign that you're being called to something greater. Dates like July 7th or March 3rd are known to carry special spiritual energy, connecting with Jesus' teachings about how the smallest things can actually be the greatest. It's as if, on certain days, a window opens to the divine purpose you are meant to fulfill. Every birthday is an opportunity to reflect on your purpose and strengthen this spiritual connection. If you've ever wondered why you were born exactly on that day and not another, it could be divine guidance pointing you towards something specific. It's like you were chosen by God to be born at that exact moment, as written in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." What this means is that you were predestined to be who you are, to live what you live, and to impact the world in a way only you can. So, if you want to connect more deeply with your divine mission, why not start by reflecting on what that day means to you? It's in this process of self-discovery that the understanding of your purpose unfolds, leading to the next level of spiritual fulfillment. When we look at the Holy Scriptures, we see that they are filled with passages that show how God had a defined plan for each of us even before our birth. Jeremiah 1:5, for instance, reveals, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This is clear evidence that no one is here by chance. Everyone has a unique mission to fulfill. This passage, along with Psalm 139:16, which mentions that our days were already written in God's book, reinforces that our lives follow a divine direction. It's as if each of us is an essential piece in the puzzle of God's plan. These biblical passages are not just beautiful to read, but they also serve as a guide to understanding the meaning behind the events we experience. Think about the times you've wondered why certain things happen or why certain challenges arise. It's precisely in these moments that the words of the Bible become a beacon of understanding. For example, when one door closes, it might be God guiding you towards a different path where your divine purpose will become clearer. The stories of prophets like Moses and David show that God is always present, shaping our destiny according to His greater plan. Reflecting on these verses can help us identify spiritual signs in our daily lives. Perhaps a prayer you made months ago is now beginning to show results. Or maybe an unexpected encounter seems like more than just a coincidence. All of this could be God indicating that His plan is in motion. And by using the Scriptures as a mirror for our own lives, we can see our role in the divine plan more clearly. If you haven't had this practice yet, try reading Jeremiah 1:5 and Psalm 139:16 every morning. It can be a great start to cultivating faith and recognizing that you were chosen for something far greater. Some birth dates seem to shine more brightly on the spiritual plane, as if they were reference points on the grand map of divine purpose. There are days like July 7th and March 3rd known for carrying a higher spiritual energy, connecting in a special way to personal development and self-awareness. Biblical numerology, for example, assigns specific meanings to certain numbers, like 7, which is seen as a symbol of perfection and spiritual completeness. If you were born on one of these dates, or any other day that feels especially meaningful, perhaps you're being called to explore your divine mission on a deeper level. People born on these dates often possess unique characteristics, such as spiritual leadership or strong intuition. They're like beacons in their communities, attracting others to a path of faith and development. Do you know that friend or family member who seems to have a stronger connection with spirituality? It could be that their birthday and the date they were born are directly linked to the greater purpose they carry. If you also feel this connection, consider dedicating some time to meditate on what that day represents and how it shapes who you are. Sometimes a birth date aligns with significant events like pivotal birthdays that change the course of life and bring new opportunities for growth. That's why, when celebrating a birthday, we should see it not just as another year of life, but as a portal to align even more with God's plan. How about using this moment to reflect and plan actions that are in accordance with your divine mission? If you were born on a date with strong spiritual energy, like 7 sevens for instance, why not start investing in prayer practices and self-discovery? This can help you unlock your full potential and strengthen your connection with the purpose God has set aside for you. As you deepen this journey, you will begin to see how these dates are intrinsically linked to the teachings of Jesus and the divine plan for your life. Jesus' teachings often emphasize how every detail of our lives is intrinsically connected to God's plan, including the dates we were born and the moments we experience. He used parables to show that God doesn't leave anything to chance. Everything is orchestrated according to a divine purpose. A classic example is the parable of the sower, where Jesus illustrates how different types of soil represent the hearts of people and how they receive God's word. Just as each soil has a role in the growth of seeds, each of us has a unique mission to fulfill from the day we came into this world. Therefore, our birthday is more than just an annual event. It's a reminder that we are chosen by God to carry out a specific mission. Jesus also spoke about how small spiritual signs, like coincidences, unexpected encounters, and even challenges, are actually subtle ways for God to guide our lives according to His greater plan. These spiritual signs often manifest around significant dates, such as birthdays or important events. Have you ever noticed how, around your birthday, things seem to take on a different rhythm? It could be a moment of transition, a window where God is more present, arranging the next steps according to the divine purpose you are meant to follow. By looking at Jesus' teachings, we see that He always encourages us to pay attention to these details and trust that God's plan is perfect, even when we don't understand it. So if you feel that certain moments in your life carry greater weight, it's not mere coincidence. It might be a reflection of divine guidance, just as Jesus' teachings illustrate how God works behind the scenes of our lives. By identifying these moments and seeking understanding through prayer, we can connect even more deeply to our purpose. Try to notice how you feel on certain dates and how these experiences shape your spiritual growth. By doing so, you are following Jesus' teachings and paving the way to align with the divine mission you were chosen for. And as you explore this profound connection, you'll also be preparing yourself to recognize the signs God places along your journey. Stories of people whose lives have been impacted by their faith and divine purpose are more common than you might think. An inspiring example is of a young woman who, from a very young age, felt different from her peers because she was highly intuitive and spiritually inclined. She always celebrated her birthday on July 7th, and as she studied more about the significance of that date, she discovered that the number 7 represents divine perfection and spiritual completeness. This led her to delve deeper into self-discovery, dedicating time to prayer and studying the teachings of Jesus. This process eventually guided her to take on a spiritual leadership role in her community, helping others find their way to faith and personal growth. Another example is of a businessman who, after a series of failures, began to question whether he was truly following God's plan for him. During a moment of introspection, he recalled the words from Jeremiah 1:5, where God says that he chose us before we were born. This prompted him to reevaluate his choices and notice how certain significant dates, like his birthday and other anniversaries, seemed to coincide with major events in his life. He realized that these signs were a form of divine guidance. By aligning his life with God's plan, he not only found success in business, but also a greater purpose in helping others discover their own missions. These examples show that when we align our journey with the teachings of Jesus and God's plan, we can see how even birth dates and anniversaries carry a deeper meaning. If you feel like your life is out of order, why not look back on key moments and see how they connect to the purpose God has for you? In many cases, these personal stories begin with a simple moment of introspection, followed by a leap of faith, which leads the person to reconnect with their divine mission. By reflecting on these experiences, we can find clues and inspiration to move forward, always guided by the divine guidance that connects us to the greater plan. Self-knowledge is a crucial element in connecting with our divine purpose and understanding the plan God has for each of us. It helps us decode the spiritual signs that appear at key moments in our lives, such as birthdays and other significant events. But what does this really mean in practice? It means that the more you know yourself, the clearer you'll be about the talents and unique qualities God has given you to fulfill your mission. Personal development begins when you dedicate time to introspection, prayer, and reflecting on your life experiences. It can be helpful to keep a spiritual journal where you record feelings and insights that come up during these moments of connection. As you practice self-knowledge, you start to notice patterns and traits that have always been present, but perhaps haven't been fully explored. For example, if you've always been the person everyone turns to in times of crisis, it might be that you were chosen for a role of spiritual leadership. Developing this ability requires practice and dedication, but above all, it requires trust in God's plan. Jesus' teachings are an invaluable guide for this journey, as they show how each of us can achieve spiritual completeness through love, divine grace, and acceptance of our role in the greater plan. Start with something simple, like setting aside 10 minutes a day to pray and reflect on your actions and thoughts. This process of personal development is not linear. It happens in cycles, like the changing seasons. Sometimes, you may feel lost or distant from your purpose, but remember that these phases are opportunities for growth and preparation for something greater. During significant birthdays, for example, it's common to feel a desire for renewal, as if a new stage is about to begin. This happens because these dates function as transition points, moments when God offers us a chance to align our lives even more closely with His divine guidance. By continuously practicing self-knowledge, you will be better able to recognize these signs and be more prepared to embrace the opportunities that arise, deepening your connection with the divine mission that has been destined for you. If your birth date truly carries a divine purpose, and God has already planned every detail of your life, how can you align your actions with this mission? Reflect on what's holding you back from this plan and focus on self-knowledge, prayer, and personal development. Are you ready to take the next step to honor this purpose? Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to follow content that will help you discover and pursue your mission with more clarity. God has already laid out the plan. Now it's your turn to act.